This is a lesson for the power and participation section of the exam. Forms of power, forms of authority. Yeah. If something is legit, authority is you obey someone's request because you think they have the right to say it to you. That's authority. Legitimate, if something is legit, it's fair, it's legal. Charisma, to the force of the personality of a person, their charisma. So, two types of power really. There's coercion or there's authority. Coercion is based on the threat of violence or violence. Someone points a gun at you, says do this, you do it because they're pointing a gun at you. That's coercion. Not really a very stable form of power because as soon as they drop the gun, you stop obeying them. Authority, based on the belief that what you're being told to do is somehow fair and right. In our country, we have mostly authority. Most of our power, various government bodies, is based on authority rather than coercion. Not totally, and certainly different sociologists would disagree. Feminists and Marxists would say it's more coercion, but on the whole, authority. Yeah. Now, authority, there's three types. There's traditional authority. A king exercises traditional authority. You do what the king says, you obey the king because that's the way it's always been. You've been taught that's just the way it is. You don't really think about it too much. So for most of human history, our leaders have had traditional authority. This is why you see pictures of kings being crowned by bishops. They've been given the job by God. It's the way it's always been. Coronations. Another example is the Dalai Lama in Tibet. Tibet, commonly conquered by the Chinese, here in the mountains between China and India. The Dalai Lama is the name of the guy who leads the country, and he was chosen because he's thought to be the reincarnation of the previous Dalai Lama. To us, to have someone as supreme leader of a country as a baby because they've been picked by some holy men because they're the reincarnation of their last leader sounds crazy. But the Tibetans, in their Buddhist religion, completely fine because of traditional authority. Then you have charismatic authority. Authority based on the charisma, the personality, the magnetism of one particular leader. Hitler's the best example of it. If you've seen the footage of Hitler making speeches to huge auditoriums, huge stadiums, everyone's listening to him and cheering. That's charismatic authority. Not very stable because it's based on one person. If they go, the authority goes with them. What we have in our country most of the time is legal, rational authority based on laws that have been made for good, sensible reasons, usually in Parliament. Yeah, so we obey the policeman because the laws they're enforcing, we've made them, and they make perfect sense. You shouldn't take people's stuff. The health inspector in a restaurant is the best example, or a good example at least. We've accepted laws have been made that in restaurants should be clean, people should have clean services, they should wash their hands, so that the owner of the restaurant allows the inspector in. The inspector makes recommendations, the owner acts on them, changes things, because everybody accepts that the health inspector has the authority to make these suggestions, to make these decisions, to make these orders, because of the legal, rational basis to them. Yeah. Okay. We've got to look at a quick glossary of power, what these terms mean. Totalitarianism is a system where the government seeks total power of all parts of your life. Today, communist China, North Korea, Hitler's Germany was totalitarian. George Orwell's famous novel 1984 was totalitarian, and the government seeks total power of all aspects of your life. So in China, the government doesn't let you go on Facebook and Google. The government tries to say how many kids to have. The government recently stopped grannies dancing in the park to certain musics. Totalitarian. A dictatorship, one guy's in charge, is a type of totalitarian regime. Hasn't got to be a dictatorship. China It's totalitarian, but not a dictatorship. Centralization in a country where all the power is brought into one central point. So imagine that our country had no councils. Everything was run from Westminster. That would be centralization. The European Union. We have given some of our power to the European Union to be in this club. So some of the power in our country resides in Brussels. That's why, for example, it's impossible to stop immigrants coming into this country from the European Union. They have the legal right to live here, and indeed, if you're British, you have the legal right to live anywhere you want in the European Union. Devolution, the opposite of centralisation. Devolving power, power going outwards from the centre out to the regions. Best examples in Britain, we have the Welsh Assembly in Cardiff, we have the Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh, power going outwards to the regions, devolution. And globalisation. The fear is that in the modern world, transnational corporations, large companies, are too powerful. They're outside the control of governments, they're outside democratic control, they have too much power. We have a range here of types of government. We've done this, yeah, totalitarian, dictatorship, democracy, you know about, we're in charge. And aristocracy is inherited wealth, landowners, dukes, barons, lords. Britain used to be an aristocracy. An oligarchy is the name of a system, like this picture here. A group of very powerful, rich people rule a country between them. It's called an oligarchy.